It's the consistency of doing the little things that add up to big impact. It's the connection points. It's not the making the phone call or sending the text or the email that's asking for the business. It's the call, text, or email that's just connecting with people and how we can add value to their lives. And it doesn't have to be about real estate. You know, they want the relationship. They want to know that you're there and you can help them. And when it's time, they'll take that next step with you.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Why Do I Suck as a Real Estate Agent podcast. Today, I have Asher Cohen out of Scottsdale, Arizona. He's at the Realty ONE Group and founder of BUYAZRE. So, Asher, welcome to the podcast, man.
Thanks for having me on. I'm excited.
I love it. So, guys, Asher's been doing this over a decade. He's helped, in completing over $140 million in transactions. But I think the really cool thing that we're going to find out today is he's doing some coaching. Your course is called ACRE Coaching and Proactive Close, right?
Yeah, well, Proactive Close is a transaction management company. So we have like three kind of revenue streams, right? But yeah, we have the team, we got coaching, and we have transaction management service.
Love it. So you understand the whole business from top to bottom. So you got to be able to get to close, keep it together, and then keep people happy at the end. So it's good. I love it, man. So I always like to hear the backstory. Why real estate? How'd you get into it?
Yeah, I got into real estate because I was a marketing and business development guy who was a commercial broker on the shopping center business that was looking for help in his marketing and his growth. He was a senior guy. He brought me on. I knew nothing about real estate, but I knew people, and it just really went really well. And I learned a lot from him. Came over to residential in 2011, started our team BUYAZRE, and we just celebrated 15 years last Saturday. So we're super excited about that. But why real estate? I think deep down, it really comes to the fact that when I was growing up, I moved around a lot. My parents loved going to open houses. I hated them. Knowing now that I do open houses for fun and for work is kind of crazy. But, it just came down to helping people. And I found that was my space, like helping people make big decisions, bringing a coolness and calmness to the conversation, but also always looking out for their best interest.
Yeah, and so you talk about that as providing, bringing value and keeping calmness to the clients. And this is a topic that comes up every once in a while, but I think the one thing in this is people are making the biggest decisions of their lives, and you have to be that calming presence when you go into that. So just being, I think one of the things, and you can elaborate on this because I'm sure this goes into your coaching, but talk about active listening. When you're talking to a client for the first time, how important is it to really just shut up?
That's the number one thing we need to do. In every first meeting, a lot of agents, they get really stressed out because they're not sure they're going to say the right things, but it's really about asking the right questions and listening to the answer and then confirming that we understand where the client is coming from or where the prospect is coming from in order to convert them to be the client. And that's a huge thing. I mean, the listening part is everything, and everyone just wants to talk a lot.
Yeah, and I think that comes with, making smart decisions. Like our job is to help a consumer, client, buyer, a seller, whatever it is, make a really smart decision, right? And so they all have a problem. Real estate agents, all we are is problem solvers. We simplify this down. That's exactly what we are. So creating clarity, simplifying things. How do you break that down with somebody who's, feeling overwhelmed?
I think to just, take one bite at a time. So we know what the eventual goal looks like. We know where they want to go, but we just need to say, hey, we're going to chunk it down. I know that it can feel overwhelming, and I just want you to know that, I've done this hundreds of times already. And for your situation, here's what we think the best next step is. And just show them one or two steps at a time versus all of the things that we need to do. And that provides a little bit more confidence on their end for them to say, you know what, that makes sense. Let's move forward with you and let's do this.
So what are you seeing with agents then in those situations? I mean, that's the most common, easiest first part of our business, right? Is just what you and I talked about. Where are agents going wrong?
I think they're just talking about themselves, and they're talking about how they're, the best, they're number one, stats on, just random stats.
Yeah. I love that one. I saw somebody the other day had posted on Instagram, and I forgot who it was, but I loved her post. I mean, the pictures were super professional. It was super like she's really pretty and all those things. So of course that's probably how it grabbed my attention. But like the first comment that was made on there was like, I always think of like The Rock, in WWE, if you remember back in the day, he said, it doesn't matter, in this case, she said, somebody asked me the other day, how many clients did I help last year? And she said, no one cares. So like when people are posting that on social media, we have a brokerage around our area that does this, and they post like listing number 21 for the year. And I'm like, nobody freaking cares that you have 21 listings this year. It's just not something that, like you said, stats don't matter. The only number that really matters is one, and that's the one in front of you, the one person or the one family that has to sell the one house. That's, I think, to me, the most important part.
Another thing I want to share with you, I saw this at a conference not too long ago. I think you're going to love it. So, our job is to make sure that we're getting ourselves out there in a way for people to remember us, like top of mind. Mm-hmm. So people want to work with successful agents. They want to make sure that who they're hiring knows, like, the competence needs to be there. The market knowledge needs to be there. So we have to like sprinkle a little bit of that. We just sold this and this is the situation and things like that. So I went to a conference and they put up, on the screen, they put up what looked like an Instagram like grid. Okay. And it was for Taco Bell. And there was nothing in the grid. And they were just saying, hey, all you realtors in the room, this is what it would look like if Taco Bell marketed on Instagram like you market on Instagram. And then it showed all of the grid, and it was just sold a taco.
Yep.
That's not really helping Taco Bell sell more tacos. That's just showing that they sold a taco, and guess what? That's what they do. Like, good for you, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But how you sell Taco Bell, right? It's about like the pictures of the burrito and the taco and people hanging out with the tacos and having a picnic or whatever it might be, and that's what's resonating. So they were just making fun of a lot of realtors that are just doing it wrong. Like, people need to feel a connection, and if all you're putting out there are stats about all your wins, I don't know if they're going to really build a connection.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's okay if you get, like, for me, I got voted #1 agent in our area last year in the county, so I post stuff about that, of course, but like, it's not something I'm constantly bragging about on a day-to-day. I won the award. That was it. It's cool. I shared it. Moving on, right? I can't win the award the next year if you don't take care of the next person. So I agree. In those listing posts too, like accepted offers and other things like you had said, yeah, it's important for people to see that you're moving houses, but there's got to be more to it than just that. Like that's, like this podcast is something I'm bringing because I want to provide more value, not only for, our clients are going to learn some things out of this, but also other agents that we can help as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So what are the so getting past the initial part, what are the daily behaviors for an agent that you see that are struggling? Well, maybe the ones that are being successful, because I think there's a lot more agents that struggle day to day than the ones who are successful. So for the ones that are successful that you coach and you train and you see, what kind of daily habits are you seeing out of them?
It's the consistency of doing the little things that add up to big impact. It's the connection points. It's not the making the phone call or sending the text or the email that's asking for the business. It's the call, text, or email that's just connecting with people and how we can add value to their lives. And it doesn't have to be about real estate, and it's just learning about people and understanding what they're about, going back to that active listening that you were asking about earlier. That is what people want. They want the relationship. They want to know that you're there and you can help them. And when it's time, they'll take that next step with you. So it's the connection points on our team. There's a standard, and I'm not making it. Each individual agent is making it. Mm-hmm. So their standard is how many people are they going to connect with on a weekly level that's going to be impactful for that other person. And then in turn, all of a sudden, all the agents get busy because they're hitting their numbers.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. That's really it too. And it's, again, when you simplify this business down to the basics, that's really what it is. It's creating fans or friends, however you want to call it, and then having genuine relationships. Like, we just brought in a guy who had a $1.2 billion business out of Chicago. His name's Ryan. And Ryan sold his business a few years ago. He's into more coaching now, and he's in transaction management too, but same thing. Like, this podcast should really be one episode of just saying, hey, this is what you need to do to succeed, because if you do these things, and you do it genuinely, you will be successful.
People don't believe it because they try it once and they're not seeing that instant gratification. You know this best, right? I mean, we've all been there where we all started the same. Everyone starts with zero. And then you start one by one and then you keep, growing. I think one thing that I've always done personally is I wake up thinking that there's zero in escrow every day. I almost like gamified this, okay? That's really kind of my secret sauce.
I love it.
Is every day I wake up, there's nothing in escrow. And what am I going to do today in order to move something towards an escrow, in order to help another family or individual or investor with their pursuit of what they want to have happen? How am I going to move that forward? And I can't rely on just waiting for them to figure it out and then call me. I have to continue a conversation with them from the first mission statement to, I like to put the game plan together and then set up the cadence based on their level. If they don't want to talk every week, fine, we'll talk every month. But as long as I'm consistently doing what we all agreed I need to do, we will have an escrow. It just happens every time.
Yep. Well, and if you're gamifying it, then it's not as serious either, right? Like, you're at a point where it's just fun. You're taking your wins, you're taking some L's. Like, if you won every single day, it's not as fun either. But, like, I totally get that, which is great. So, all right, so you and I have simplified this business down to really simple aspects of it. So let's get into, like, a lot of the noise that you hear out there now is waiting for interest rates to come down or, whatever excuses are out there, right? There's a million.
Yeah, let's go with interest rates because since the end of 2022, right, right now we're first quarter of 2026, but end of 2022, it was let's wait, interest rates are going to drop, and then we'll make it happen. And well, how are all of these buyers buying with interest rates from the end of 2022 all the way through now? Like, how are they doing it? And obviously interest rates have dropped since then, but when they were in the 7s and 8s, how did people do it? And we have to create a solution out of whatever we're trying to do. So the solution was, hey, have you heard about buying the home for around that same price, but us negotiating the seller to buy down your interest rate to make that monthly payment more affordable for you? Because that's ultimately what they're looking to have happen.
Yep. Well,
And
especially now, since we know that the rates are most likely going to continue to go down for the next few years.
yeah, so it's just having that conversation, and 9 out of 10 times, they were like, what is that? What do you mean? What does that look like? What does that like? And just showing them on black and white, on paper, hey, if we offer this amount and we get them to do this amount as a concession from the lender, this is what your payment's going to look like, either permanently or temporarily. And they're like, oh, I never heard of that, right? And when we're in the industry, we know because we do this. But the consumer doesn't know this. And if we can't create a way to communicate that in a simple way for them, so if we complicate it, they're out. They're already out because interest rates are high. So they're also thinking they're high because other people have told them they're high. Because if they talk to someone that bought in the 80s, they wouldn't say they're high.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, right? So it's like all that noise, right? We all are dealing with all the same noise. The top producers in every city and state are dealing with the same noise. The newbies are all dealing with the same noise. So we have to focus our attention on the solution. What is the solution? They want a lower payment per month? Fine. Someone's not going to drop the price by $200,000 or $300,000 most likely. But we can get concessions to drop their interest rate, which is going to drop their monthly payment. So we just have to, be creative.
Yeah. Well, and also to communicate with their lender, right? Like, make sure that you and the lender are on the same page so that you can both be talking the same points, which I think a lot of agents that struggle don't have the outside team, meaning you have your broker, right? And that's even up in the air if your broker is going to answer phone calls and, get your questions, or you may have like a mentor or something like that. And if you have a mentor, that's usually a good thing because that means they're doing that basically out of the goodness of their heart because they want to see you succeed. But the other mentors that I've had in this business are lenders who've been in the business for a long time, title and closing company agents that I work with. I have a few that have just been phenomenal where I just pick up the phone. I have a lender. She's been in my life for 20 some years. She's been in the business for 24 years or whatever since she got out of college. I have no problems just making a phone call and going, hey, I don't get this. Am I seeing this the right way? So building that outside tertiary team will help you become more confident when you're talking to those agents as well.
I got a question for you.
Yeah, bring it.
So I call it the 2-in-1 meeting. The 2-in-1, and you might be doing this, and anyone watching or listening to this, if you're not already doing it, you got to do it. If you want to secure a buyer prospect to be a client, have the 2-in-1 meeting. It's the lender that you work with. That's awesome. Same level or better of service, highly educational, been in the business. Okay, dot.
Yep.
And then it's yourself, and have it in person if you can, or Zoom, right? Virtual is fine, but have it where you're talking about the market. You're creating that custom search. You're walking them through the process from, hey, here's today, and here's where you get your keys, and these are the milestones that I'm going to help you cross over, right? And then the lender's going to be there to talk about what it's like on the financing side, talking about the options, asking them questions about it. If you can get the prospect to provide the lender information that they need to pre-qualify them for that meeting, even better. Mm-hmm. But at a minimum, that is such an important meeting and is something that I implemented over a decade ago, because that when the buyer leaves that meeting, they're going to feel like overwhelmed, but with a good like, wow, that was awesome. We just got all of our answers to all of our questions, right? There's no like, well, let me get to the lender and then, right? It's, you got the powerhouse meeting, the 2-in-1 meeting. Have you done that?
No. Well, I have in person, but not on a consistent basis. And you're right. I have so many things firing off right now where it makes so much sense. Even the Zoom thing where you can share your screen and you have a buyer telling you, oh, I want 3 to 4 bedrooms. I want this location. And you're just putting it right into their search criteria. And at the end of it, you go, okay, are you happy with this? And boom, now they know that every single house that comes their way is going to be right. Dude, that's genius. And it's so simple.
It's great. And the lender's right there. So let's say you find that at home that they're like, oh, I like that one. That's something worth looking at. Then the lender's right there and they can plug in HOA, taxes information. They can spit out to the buyer right then and there, hey, this is what it looks like for, down payment options. This is what the side-by-side comparison is for monthly payment. If you do the buy down, this is what it's there.
Yeah.
It's there.
Well, yeah. And you're doing the main thing, right? You're basically getting that buyer confident in their decision, but also they're getting confident and trusting in you and the lender all at the same time. And that's, again, simplifying this business down to what it is. Education matters because education creates confidence. Confidence creates, people in the market, and they're going to go buy then. So, and they know what they're getting into and they feel great at the end of the day. There's no hesitation.
Yeah.
That's so good. That's so good. So, where do we want to go from here? This has been awesome. What other nuggets you got for me, Asher? That was really good.
We could do this all day long. We could do this all day.
What other nuggets you got for me? That was pretty good.
I got all types. I got all of them. What do you need? What's the subject? What do you want?
Hey, let's talk about this. It's by the time this episode comes out, it'll probably be sometime late spring. So we'll be in the part of the season that slows down for an agent. So in the slow periods, what does it look like? What should agents be doing during the slow periods of the yearly buying cycle?
Yeah. So how do we create where there's never a slow period? How do we create that, right? And if we're always prospecting, and a lot of my agents on my team hate when I use that P word. They really don't like it.
I hate the word lead too. That's
lead.
I call it opportunity, I guess, is the way that I have my team looking at it, is everyone is an opportunity, not a lead. But
yeah. I think it's just opening your eyes to everything. So when someone comes in, I'm like, all right, whatever is great, but I want to make sure that there's 5 categories of people, of opportunities. And everyone's going to fall into, at some point, one of these categories. And I think when I share these with you and I share these with team members, I think they start understanding that there's always an opportunity at any given point. So one category is buyers, obviously, that want to buy now or the near future. Then there's sellers that want to sell now or the near future. Then there's investors, right? And there's 2 main types. There's the buy and hold and then the fix and flip, right? Mm-hmm. They work a little differently, but ultimately they're looking for a bottom line return on investment. And then there's the renters, right? people that either have rental properties that they want to rent out or someone that wants to rent something. And most agents in the Arizona market, and this is where we kind of dominate, like no agents want to do that because there's not a lot of money involved.
Mm-hmm.
But again, if we're in this for the right reasons, not only the money, but the relationships, and then to grow other opportunities, you're leaving a lot on the table if you're not helping renters. And then the last one is really everyone else that I call them owners. Like they're just people that own their home and they're not really needing anything, but they kind of do need something, because every owner likes to walk into an open house next door to theirs because they're curious. They're just wanting information. So if these are the 5 categories, how do we add value to each one of those on a high level? And then I go over that with everyone. So obviously a buyer is doing the buyer consult, setting up a search, showing homes, being attentive. Sellers, getting their home prepped, getting on the market, awesome marketing, following up with information, getting an offer, negotiating it, right? Yep. Investors, same thing. But an owner, it's just being there for guidance. It's setting them up on a community search, right, where they're getting information about their community because they're already curious, right, being top of mind. And then if you're doing that with every type of person, then opportunities just keep happening throughout the year.
That's a great point too. And I think that's one thing that's got me to the point of, having the volume that I do have is, especially in the investor world, investors are very transactional. So a lot of these places I've helped them get, duplexes or multi-units 4 or 5 years ago. Well, their 5-year arm is up, so now they're ready to sell or, refinance because the rates have come up. The numbers work great before, they don't work now. So there's a lot of really, really huge advantages to doing that. And I would recommend anybody watching this, go to a local real estate investors meeting and just learn how those guys transact. And because that's how you're going to get really creative in this business too, is by learning from investors, because that's their world. They're always getting creative. Whereas if you're just stuck in the 20% down world and you have a few lender friends, you're kind of you're going to be very limited to how you're going to grow.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when you said investor in the multi, dwellings, like then there's the 1031 exchange where it's like, hey, they're ready to like invest in something bigger or more expensive, the move up investor. So there's always an opportunity. So again, original question is like, how do we keep things moving? Yep. Even if like cyclically it's a slower time, it's like there's always an opportunity in every market, and we have to be on the pivot. Like we have to move and flow as the market's moving and flowing. And the more someone gets seasoned in the marketplace, they'll start feeling it and seeing it as well.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Asher, this has been phenomenal. So one thing I always like to wrap up these podcasts on is for those agents out there who feel like they suck right now, what's your best advice for them?
Well, you need to have a better mindset, because if you think you suck, you probably do. So
I love it. You're the first guy that's come up with that and said that, and I love it because that is true.
Let's start thinking that, you know what, you maybe are not where you want to be right this second, but if you have the willpower and the discipline to get to where you want to go to, align yourself with people that are already doing it, get connected and build out your team and your external team, and learn, and always be open to learning, because you don't have to suck, and there might be a low period, but then there's going to be high periods, and you got to embrace all of them. So when it's not real busy with transactions, that's your time to get really dialed in with your marketing and getting out there and organizing yourself. When you're busy with transactions, well, then you're making the money. So you got to move around all of that. So stop thinking that way. Feel like you can be there, act like you've been there, and make it happen.
Yep, 100%. Well, I appreciate you, and that nugget about the 2-in-1, that's getting implemented right now with my team. I'm bringing that up on the next training meeting, and even I'm just going to throw it into our team, our brokerage chat, because that one right there is a game changer for anybody that's struggling. If you can get somebody on the call with a lender, that lender will take you home probably if you're struggling. So, you don't have to battle it alone. You'll be a lot more confident. So that was great stuff. So Asher, how can anybody find you?
Asher Cohen, my cell number is 480-650-2995. I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube, all the things. BUYAZRE is our team. Feel free to reach out, and I appreciate the opportunity to be on here, and just, again, mindset, and just start dialing in the skills.
Love it. Take a second to pitch your coaching as well.
Yeah, ACRE Coaching is on the school platform. You can reach out to me and I'll get you connected with it. But it's a phenomenal training program that converts right into coaching, because I want to make sure that everyone has the foundation set, have the right mindset set, and then coaching after that. And then anyone within the same brokerage as ours, which is Realty ONE Group, that's where we can actually handle your transactions through proactiveclose.com.
Love it. Well, thanks again, Asher. It's been phenomenal having you on here. And yeah, hopefully we help somebody today, and hopefully we'll connect again here soon.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, man. So that's a wrap here on the Why Do I Suck as a Real Estate Agent podcast. Thank you so much for spending time with me and our guests. The people you hear on this show really aren't guessing. They've been doing the work. They've been doing it for a long time. They're sharing their behaviors, their habits, their successes, their systems that actually lead to real work, real success. So please subscribe and follow so you don't miss the next conversation. Until next time, remember, you don't suck. You're learning. It's the beginning, or maybe you're in a rut, but you don't suck. So make a few changes, stay curious, stay consistent, and please keep coming back.